I got a little something from the JAC. What is good about this is that it is showing us what has been spent.
Yeah, it
so
sure is.
if I open it first and then screen share, we might be able to zoom a little bit better. So let me try that.
It's tiny.
It is super tiny. Yeah, this might be better. And so let's do a check. Can you still hear us when this is pulled up?
I can still hear you. Can everybody else?
Let us know in the chat, you guys. Of course, if they don't respond, we'll know they can't hear us. We can. Thank you. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, we're waiting on them to respond. We will just watch it again. Thank you, Amanda. Okay, so this is a big document, you guys. It's hard to get this whole thing on here where y'all can read it. So here you have right here under this area this is what it was for.
Right.
And this is a PDF, guys. I couldn't get this in a Excel format to make it easier for us to look at. It's in a PDF. So Forensic Consulting Services got paid. Billy Joe Lane.
That's
I don't know his middle name was Joe.
Yeah. J.D. Thomas is Forensic Consulting Services.
So, yeah, that was all when Padilla came in. Reliable reporting. I think that was transcripts.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Why did Padilla travel? This is what I wanted to look at. How much money did he spend in travel?
I know that he went up to George's Philadelphia, maybe.
So what we're looking at here, where it says total on the fourth column, and I'm hoping you guys, let me just look back on the screen really quick because I can only see this one way. No, I think you guys have a good view of it. Can you guys see okay? Let's see. If you look at the total, that's what has been paid. This is not the amount that was approved. So that's why I wanted to get this, is I wanted to see how much has been spent. Now, the problem is that unless somebody knows how to take this document and turn it into an Excel spreadsheet, I'm not going to sit here and type this up to do the calculation tonight. It'll take me forever. Medical
I know
doctor.
how to do it just on the column. I can do it from this on a column if I can get it open. I can't do Excel for anything, but I use columns and tables to do my numbers.
In a PDF?
I'll see. I might be able to fix that. I might be able to.
Okay, well, if you can, you go, girl, because I don't know how to do that. So the most expensive stuff, obviously, is the medical doctors, but that was the $300 per rate, and that was all for. Let's go back over here and see which doctor it was. Edward Wiley. Yeah, that was the first doctor that she saw, I think. But what I find interesting is this ends at June of 2024. Okay. Look at the jump from February of 2023, and then nothing was done for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
That was the time period. That was when Padilla came off of it. First guy came up and he had to conflict off. Then you had another guy come up. He got to conflict off. And then you had Bankowitz. Then you had Hobson. Then you had Cashman. So it really makes you look at this and go, wow. I mean, for a year, not a whole lot was done because Sarah screwed herself over and all of that. As far as the JAC payments were going. So deposition transcripts, that's normal.
Yes,
appearance fees. Okay. What is appearance fee for if they weren't?
I don't know.
Court reporter, that's why.
Deposition. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what? Wait, we didn't have a trial.
Yeah. Right. No.
Yeah, so all these, I don't think there was anybody other than Billy that ever got paid for investigation. Let's go back and look at that. So you got investigative. No, Aron and Associates did get paid. They did some work on this.
Oh, wow.
$1,900, $364. That's who Brankowitz brought in. He wanted to use them.
Okay, so you can figure out the hours somebody with math skills could if you add those two up and divide it by 40 because the
It's right
rates
here.
went up.
It's right here.
Oh.
Look,
Yeah, man numbers.
so the second column is the number of hours, and then the next column is per unit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was at the earlier rate. So in July of last year, we got a $10 raise.
Which that made sense. That made better sense anyway.
And one of the reasons the transcripts have to be transcribed is because the defendant needs a chance to see them and they don't have access to PDF files.
So if you think about the money wasted, if you guys want to be mad, because I know a lot of people are like, how much money has the state spent on her? Where I would be angry is on the attorney's travel expenses right here. That would piss me off. Of course, he did get some stuff done,
Well,
but
so here's the thing though. I thought that the JAC, if you accepted a case out of your circuit, that the travel costs were on you for that.
you
Uh,
think
well, I've been laboring under that. I'll look at the new contracts. I thought for sure they wouldn't pay for travel. Because see how he's saying in-state travel, out-of-state travel they'll pay for if you do it ahead of time, but that in-state travel, that's him going from Fort Lauderdale, Miami up to Orlando. But I could have
right.
sworn they said they won't pay for in-state travel because when I have to drive 100 miles, like I bill it as time, not as miles.
And he
Because
took.
go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. Well, look at the 2022, and then again in 2021, and I want to see. Okay, let's go up here real quick. I wanted to see in-state travel, out-of-state
Media
travel.
analyst.
Huh?
Media analyst. That's forensic data group. Huh. Interesting.
So
Group. Is that John Sawicki's company?
let me go back.
Forensic Consulting Services is J.D. Thomas.
Forensic Data Corp. That's who you're talking about?
Yeah, I think that's John Sawicki's company.
So they paid somebody from Padilla's office to go out of state.
Yeah, I believe they went up to Philadelphia.
But I don't see where they paid Billy to go out of state.
He did go, though. I do know that.
Maybe he hasn't put it in yet. Or maybe could he have put it in through Padilla's office?
Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible. I don't know.
But see, I see airfare and then I see hotel for one person.
Right.
Airfare right here and then
Mhm.
hotel right here. So let me check the
Yeah.
chat. Let me make sure everybody's still. Are you guys good? Are you guys with us? Are you excited? Are you happy to look at this? I just make sure we haven't lost anybody because I hate it when I don't get to look back at the chat and just check on y'all. Laura, I'm so sorry, honey. I forgot you were doing a thing tonight. I apologize. I can't apologize enough. I totally forgot you had a thing scheduled. Y'all got to go over and watch her thing that she did tonight on John Wayne Gacy. Is really, her stuff is so good. They knew him.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
see. Yeah, her family knew him. Her grandmother lived in the same, was it the same building as his mom or him? I can't remember exactly, but so yeah, I just want to make sure you guys are you paying attention, class? That's the question I wanted to ask.
We've got education coming for you guys. Well, so
No,
this correlates, right? Carrie was reading to you guys all the motions for costs before I ever came on the show, or the channel. She was reading out all the JAC money, and one of the things I told her was just because an amount had been approved, it wasn't necessarily being spent. Not all of it had been spent. And this is just giving you guys a chance to see what what does get billed for. So you can see court reporters being paid in there. You see investigators. You see crime scene experts. You're seeing that I saw a phone person in there somewhere. But these are the kinds of things you'll see. Do they give you a total, like a total?
No, that's what I'm saying. I need you to help me do that. I need somebody to
Oh,
sum it
got
up
you.
for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go down the list first, and I'm gonna read the vendor names to you guys. And we've already said forensic consulting services. That was,
That's
excuse me,
crazy.
JD Thomas. What did JD Thomas do? He was the cell phone guy, or
No, JD Thomas does ballistics and crime scene. Um,
in reconstruction.
Not so much reconstruction as like you can call him and he'll look at, like, sometimes we get these 3D Faro scans of where bullets went. It's like a almost like an AI thing. He can review that. I had one case where I wanted to know if a rifle had been propped on the door of a car. He'll go look at that kind of stuff. But I'm interested to see Sarah's new experts because it sounds to me like they're pretty fancy. But forensic consulting services is JD.
Okay, and then we have Billy Lane, who we know is prison break
Prison break.
investigations, and he
Mhm.
is the one that has been on the case pretty much longer than anybody,
Yeah,
except for Sarah.
because he's so nice. He just really is a very nice guy.
And so I can imagine, and I know you can't say a whole lot on this. I don't want to get you in trouble, but like I can imagine that he pretty much kind of helped the new guy, the new lawyer coming in, kind of fill in the blanks a little bit.
I mean, he
Wouldn't
would have
he?
done yeah, I mean, he would have done that, I would think, for any of the lawyers because he had spent so much time with her and knew so many facts about the case, and he's very meticulous about his note-taking and things like that. So, yeah, he would be able to fill in information for
So
sure, and if
go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It you know, part of what we do is we write reports. So, if nothing else, those reports that we write would get passed along. But yeah, I mean, I think that any attorney would want to take advantage of having him.
Well, I'm looking over here until June of, 2020, all the way into 2021, like over a year, it looks like that JD Thomas was involved doing the processing, doing the crime scene stuff. So I would think that that stuff is already done for the attorney that's on there now. Like that information was probably, to me, and this is just my thought, and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but okay, you had that guy come in and he did all that work, and his work is probably part of Padilla's file, right? Because
Yes,
Padilla
yeah.
was the attorney.
Yeah,
So
because Padilla works regularly with several of these guys, yes.
So let's say Padilla comes off. So Padilla comes off of it, and when he does, Sarah's. I don't even know if they would even return her call at that point, but she's already ticked everybody off. Billy goes, "We're gonna get this stuff for you, Sarah. Like this has already been done. This work's already been done. We're gonna get this so that we can give it to the new lawyer." That would make sense to me. But you had made a comment, Sam, that they could actually go in and say, oh, "Okay, well, we're just gonna get a new guy and redo all of this over again, and JAC will pay him again." Like that's a
They
possibility.
That is a possibility. So, there was a case that I worked. This man ended up defending himself. Um, but I worked on this case and he had a lot of discovery and a very specific set of things he was looking for, but the attorney had even more specific things for me to do. So it was my understanding that the attorney loved my work. The client didn't like me very much at all.
Oh. Oh.
Because yeah, because I gave him answers he didn't want to hear. They I've got another one sitting in county jail right now that doesn't want me anywhere near him, which is fine because I do think he's a psychopath. But it's because he doesn't like the fact that I call him on his crap. and I called this other guy on his crap. I'm like, this is BS. Here's what I can prove. I showed it to the attorney. The attorney's like, yeah, 100%. Well, at some point when this guy, and his trial's on YouTube, so, and it was short. So it's interesting and we could probably take a look at it. But what the attorney had me do when he got off the case, poor thing, he ended up back on his standby counsel. And I watched part of the trial. Oh my God. Anyway, when he took the case from the attorney I had been working for, they put in for a new investigator because this was a person who I think was very much like Sarah, who is going to disagree with anyone who doesn't provide the answers that they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Which,
yeah, and so he got really angry. I mean, the fact is, I'm going to do my job. If I uncover bad things on you, or if I can't prove the stuff you're saying, that's that's the job. That's part of it. I'm not out here manufacturing evidence to make you look good.
well, and just so people that have not watched or didn't watch our previous video together, I should probably reintroduce what you do. Um, Sam is literally a private investigator and she works with the JAC in the state of Florida on various cases. So she is basically just like Billy Lane. And that's why
Yes.
she's able to look at some of this and give us the answers and whatnot. Um,
I'm a
I see
criminal
that.
defense investigator. I mean, I'm a licensed PI, but my specialization is in this kind of work. It's criminal defense for the indigent. So that's why I know the JAC stuff.
So I'm looking at this thinking, okay, so this guy, JD Thomas, he did his job. More than likely, because I don't see anything else compared to what he would do on the list below, they're using his work. It looks like. Of course,
Well,
we don't know what's going to happen. He's only got a month left of trial, but
I would have thought so, Carrie, but in the filings that I've seen that may have come out today or last night, and I'm not sure when, um, they are putting forward for a different guy for
okay, let
crime
me
scene reconstructionist. There's a couple new ones on there.
okay, let me go in really quick because I looked at it this morning. I didn't look at it when I got back from
I
running
think I
errands this
looked at
morning.
it this afternoon.
We'll pull
Couldn't
up the
tell you.
dockets. I'll look at it and see what's. I did it this morning when I had the. What was that we saw? Oh, and I want to bring something up too, guys. Wait, whoa,
There
Kevin
are
who?
new attorneys. Yes, there are more attorneys now.
Okay, so Kevin T. Beck is one of them. Okay, I've got to write all this down, so I got to look at this again. But that's the only one I see. The notice of appearance, motion for cost, notice of filing. No, this is the IMS report we already looked at several days ago. That's
I
not it.
think, have you looked at that motion for costs for the third? Oh, wait, here we got forensic psychologist. Okay, motion to appoint expert. Can you click on that and see if he names somebody? On the 9-2 motion to appoint expert.
Oh,
Keep
I was
going
at the
up.
particulars. Sorry.
It's three up from where you are.
This.
One more up.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, one more up. I wanted to see this crime scene reconstructionist and death investigator. I want to see if he names names.
Michael Birkland. Oh, that's right. That's the guy that he knows in his
Okay, he
area.
mentioned him in court. Got
So
you.
they are
Okay.
going to redo it. They're going to redo it.
Well, it could be if he's a death investigator and a crime scene reconstructionist. I wonder how that differs. I'll have to look him up too and see what his claim to fame is.
Okay, let me go over here to because there was something here that I saw and it jumped out at me because somebody made a thing in the chat and I was like, no, 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 that doesn't mean that they're on it. That's not it. This is where they had the court minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the court minutes, I don't know if you guys remember, but at one point I was reading all the stuff up here and I was like, look at all the errors where they kept like duplicating words and stuff. if you look up here, it says David Veray, Winston Hobson twice, Rachel Fugate, and James Owens. Okay. David Veray was one of the ones that had to conflict out. And then Winston Hobson was the one right before Patricia Cashman. Somebody noticed this, I guess, is where it was coming from, because there was a lot of hubbub today in the comments about, oh, Winston Hobson is back on the case. And I was like, well, if that's where y'all are getting this from, I think that's incorrect. I think that's just a typo.
So he didn't conflict off because of having other clients to represent. He conflicted off because they weren't getting along. Let's go, if you don't mind. Could you go back to the docket and look to see who's
Well,
filed a
no,
notice of appearance?
David Veray conflicted off because Melissa Sexton was his client at one point in time.
Okay. But
Okay,
I
what do you
want
want
to
me to?
see who filed notices of appearance.
Okay, let's start from the top and go down so we don't miss any. Okay, notice of appearance. This is the one we just looked at, I believe. This is the one with Kevin T. Beck.
Okay.
As co-counsel for James Owens. Why is he out of New Mexico?
Pro hoc vice, which means that you can come and practice law for a limited purpose for a specific case in the state of Florida if you are working with a Florida barred attorney. But you can't come here and do it indefinitely. It has to be like specifically for a case.
Okay.
Florida has no reciprocity when
I'm
it
sorry, y'all.
comes to attorneys. Like, we don't play with anybody else. So, like, New York and DC, I think if you have one, then you have the other. And, like, maybe Ohio and Indiana. But Florida is like, no, we don't share.
I'm looking in the chat just to make sure they're not. We've lost them.
Do we
Beck
lose
and
them?
Owens. So you've only seen Beck and Owens so far. That's what I think too. I think there's only Beck and Owens. So I'm going to go back down to the filing here. I'm going to share this tab. So we just looked at this one. Notice of appearance. And then the last one. Tell me if I miss one, but the only one I see is this one right here with top, which was Owens. So far that's
But
it.
then who's below him? Because there's another notice of appearance also on the 30th. Is that just them entering him in twice?
Oh, I see what you're talking about. This one is, yeah, it must be twice. So that was what I wanted to make a point of, though, is that where they were the hubbub about Hobson being on the docket, I was like, you guys, I think that's incorrect. I think that is a typo. So
I think the second notice of appearance, Carrie, if you look at it, I
mhm.
think he went back and stated pro bono on it.
Right here.
No, on the other one that's
Oh,
for
for
the
Hobson.
no,
I mean, for
for
Owens.
Owens. Yeah, I
Okay.
think the reason why he has two is, and I might be wrong, but if you go open the other one, it might say pro se on there.
Okay, let me go back out here. The second. This is the second one.
And it still doesn't say pro bono? Hereby enters his appearance on counsel's
But he's
behalf.
not pro bono.
So he came out today saying that he was, because he was getting a lot of flack for
Oh.
the comments that he was making about Sarah owes me and different things like that. And I could have
Oh.
sworn that man likes to talk, by the way. Have you
Yes.
noticed that every interviewer cuts him off? I
I've
could have
never seen an
sworn.
attorney comment. This one is different though, because this is a different. It's different on the top. What's different about it? And it's going to show his appearance on behalf of the defendant, and then this one it says James Ellen his appearance as counsel on behalf of the defendant. I don't understand what's different. It's just a couple of words. It's not like a big deal, but it's not.
I could have sworn I heard or read today that he went and filed that he was pro bono, because they were getting pretty questions. Oh, here, Yana says pro bono is listed in his motion for cost. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
honey.
Yana.
She's like, "Do I need to get on this stream with you guys and show y'all how it's done?"
Right?
Apparently, I can't even take half a day off and I feel completely out of the loop on everything. I'm like, "You heard what? Something changed today? How did I miss
Right?
that?"
Yeah,
Okay,
I had jail oh, thank you, Bama. I was in the jail all day yesterday, so, like, that just throws me off for the day after.
here it is on number 3. Undersigned has agreed to accept this case pro bono
There
and has
you
not
go.
received any payments toward legal fees.
Okay.
This was
And this
filed
is
on the 3rd. Okay.
so you do have to file a motion for, indigency so that it which is separate than being considered indigent to qualify for a public defender. This is a separate thing to be qualified as indigent for costs.
So that's why he was getting flack because they did this and then he came out and was talking about how she's going to pay him. And there was talk that her fans were making payments to him and you and I had speculated maybe there was some money from the house they sold and like all
Mhm.
kinds of
Like
stuff.
in
I don't know.
escrow. I thought that
Yeah.
maybe in escrow there could have been money being held and that would go to Lucas if she's convicted, something to that effect. Um,
But what
because
if she is convicted? Then she's
then
not going to be able to make any money and pay him.
no. Then no. Then my guess is if she's convicted, my guess is Brian will go to court to have her parental rights terminated, depending on how long her sentence is.
Well, I don't know because of all the stuff that happened with their house. Like heard something about there might be a bankruptcy in there. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that was said about the house. So I'm not even gonna like I put that out there that it could possibly be some money sitting there because the house was sold after she
Mhm.
was in jail. But after that,
Well,
I'm
the
not saying any. I don't know what else is going on. I don't know.
if she was entitled and 50/50 Florida's a 50/50 state, if she was entitled to money and he sold that house after she was arrested and they've got an ongoing family court case, then one of the options that came to my mind, and that what I told you, is that it could like her chunk, right? Her whatever piece of it that they agreed she could have in the distribution of marital assets could be sitting in the court registry, could have been paid into the court registry, which is basically saying the court is holding your money and so you can't spend it. Nobody can spend it until the resolution of your case.
Which would
I
make
thought
sense.
I thought that was a potential option. Your subscribers did not like that. And yes, Yana, I I know he did buy her out of the house before Mr. Torres. Okay, you're saying was on before he was unalive. I don't know. Like she could have been entitled to something here. And the thing is we'll never know because you just can't see domestic relation you can't see all the financial stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Right. Right.
So,
So let's go back over here to this JAC thing because this is what. Wait, was there anything else I wanted to look at before we get off this?
I thought the first lawyer was a public defender.
It looks like somebody's going to be unavailable. Oh, Cacciatore. He's going to be unavailable. I don't know why they're giving him this date because this is way after the trial. Why would
He's
they? I
anticip
guess.
he's anticipating a continuance.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
bless his
attorneys
heart.
will do that when they know they're gonna be on vacation. I've got one that's going out for hip surgery. I'm like, "Could you please go and file a notice of unavailability so
Just in
that
case.
we're not scrambling to try a case right then?"
Yeah, that's true. Okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So he would do it on all his cases. Okay.
Well, I think he's doing it here. I mean, I understand the trial is set to go, but I think he's hedging his bets and just making sure he covers himself that if for some reason there is a continuance and it gets pushed, then he's just saying, "Hey, I can't do it this day, these days."
Okay, so I'm gonna before we close out the docket and go back to the JAC forms, I just want to say really quickly, this is what I read in my video earlier this morning about
Mhm.
the Dr. Julie Harper. And Sam, do you want to tell them what we were talking about, what we're doing back and forth
Like what I wrote you
on
in
this
the
other
email,
case? Yeah.
what we've been talking about. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually really interested in this. Um, Yesterday, was it yesterday? I cannot keep my days straight. 2 days ago, I think Mr. Owens told the court about a case in Palm Beach County where a battered woman had shot her husband. She discharged her firearm 9 times, but shot him six. And she was tried for first degree murder and under this battered spouse syndrome, which I've been reading up on. Um, and she was found not guilty, which is amazing. However, from what I've been able to understand so far, it is very, her situation was much, much more violent than what I understand Sarah's case to be. But what we were planning to do for you guys is I'm looking to put together what the elements are of like the standard of how you meet that defense, that battered spouse syndrome, how what has to happen in order for that to be successful, right? So that you could watch Sarah and say, is she meeting these criteria as the trial goes on? But also, that trial was not fully televised, but there are some clips, including her testimony. Um, so we're
So you're doing the legal side and I'm doing the media clips and stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I pulled a bunch of stuff out today.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and put that other stuff down for you. All right. Let's go back over here to the JAC now. So we're going to try to do that this weekend and get that out to you guys. I'd rather us pre-do it and then not do it live.
Yeah, I don't mind pre-recording it because
We
I
both
think,
get way too distracted.
oh, 100%. So, but I want to make sure that the information that everyone is getting is correct. So, I'm doing a little bit of research to make sure that I can um, come with information for y'all.
You'll be able to give us the stuff that you'll, I mean, my editing and your knowledge, damn, we're a team.
Yeah, your editing's so good.
It's not that great. I'm just being,
I think
I'm
it's
being
good.
facetious, but yeah, but I mean, you help. But for people, I don't even know why they watch my channel. I really don't. I don't know why y'all do this. Okay, Padilla Law Group has gotten paid. He got paid a lot.
Rose, yes, you're correct. He did come out and then say that today that he has been retained, but just as like in the filing we just read, he says pro bono. I have no idea. Louise says the magnificent duo. We don't know each other, like
Yeah, we met.
over the internet,
We met over the
basically.
internet, and like the very first time we really got to know each other was like a phone call for 3 hours prior
Yeah.
to us recording the next time we talked. So yeah,
Right, exactly, exactly. But appreciate that, Louise, for calling us magnificent. Um,
thank you, Laura.
and now Rose
The,
is saying the house has not been sold yet.
I'm not
But
getting into this with y'all. I am not. Because somebody will come back and go, Carrie told us something that was not right. Here's
right,
what I know.
that's why I say when I'm speculating, that's why I tell you that I'm speculating.
What
Um,
what
yeah,
I know, and Sam was on the stream with me. We went into the property appraiser's website. The name that of the ownership of that home is no longer Brian and Sarah's, and there was a sale shown under the property appraiser's website to another individual from Brian Boone to these people.
correct. We did see that. It is in the property records.
So I don't know how the house, unless Rose, there's a bunch of behind the scenes under, like, having to do with bankruptcy and the mortgage and all that, and it's just weird. That part I don't understand, but that's what I saw on the property appraiser's website. But yeah,
Right. Right.
I had some people coming for me in the chat like over the last couple of days, and I've been real sensitive towards it. And actually said something, and this morning I was like, I hit a wall. I was like, stop, just stop it, because like, so I'm not gonna get into it. I mean, let me tell you, I love y'all. Y'all are wonderful. And I love when y'all send me things going, Carrie, research this, or Carrie, look at this case, or Carrie, this case. But when somebody comes to me and goes, Carrie, I don't like the way you read that, or I don't like the fact that you don't pre read that, or I don't like that when I come on, I have to wait for you to pull that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to wait for me to pull it up. But if you
Can't
want
please
somebody to
all
have it prepared,
people.
then you need to go over to Court TV or Law and Crime, because see, they got like 20 people that help them.
Yeah,
So, and they're
exactly.
still not reporting it till like 3 days later. So if that's what you want, you go right ahead.
Right.
Okay, I'm off.
I was thinking today as I was, last night and today as I was kind of working on putting this together, this battered spouse thing. I'm like, damn, this is a lot of work to get all this information together and presented.
Mhm.
And if you don't like somebody's chat, there will be somebody else's chat on the internet, you know.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. I'm like, I don't understand why. So you want me to change for you? Apparently, other people like it. They've been around a while, but it's like how that probably. I mean, and that person was not the only person that said anything to me. It's a couple, so maybe there's some things I need to change. I get that, and I'm working on it. Okay, but I have a bit of a stutter, if y'all haven't noticed, and I'm a little sensitive about it. So, what does it say? She says, just says it's your channel and they can make their own if they don't like that. I've said that before too. Yeah. Psychic. I'm like, you know what? Try to set up your channel and do it and see how easy it is.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Bama. That's a very nice compliment.
That I was supposed to say. I mute them. You mute them. Yeah. I mute them too. They don't know they're muted though. Okay. I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent, but I was having a day today, you guys.
I understand though, like there are days when I'm just particularly sensitive to uh negativity about me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just, yeah, my senses just were like, oh, I can't take this today.
Hmm.
I hope I didn't offend anybody that shouldn't have been offended, but I feel like there's hopefully not. I hope not. Okay. So let's back over here. We're on the vendor list. Okay.
Hmm.
We've looked at forensic. We've looked at Padilla.
Hmm.
Most of his is travel. We get that. Reliable reporting. Now that's transcripting.
Hmm. Well,
Not a,
they can charge for going in and taking the deposition in the first place. And then that is a different cost than having it just transcribed. So
okay.
and from what I'm understanding from some court reporters I'm familiar with, they've started getting really picky with how the court reporters are invoicing, just like they cracked down on investigators this year. And it'll take me some time. Like I try so hard to keep contemporaneous time. It still takes me a day to put it all together to where they won't kick it back at me. I have this one case, like I keep referring to, that's from 1989. So it's in my hallway because it's in boxes. One day I got so mad at them because they want a quantification. And I'm like, well, I'm skimming thousands of pages of information. You know, I know what I'm looking for. I don't know how you want me to quantify this because there's a reading rate for the JAC, and I would have used that up within 2 days. So I finally just went and to my hallway and took pictures of the boxes with the files that I had organized and sent them to the JAC.
Say,
I was
okay,
like,
I know I'm on a times limit. Yeah, like I'm on a time limit, so this is what I'm dealing with. Well, how
yeah,
else are you going to explain it to them?
I was so mad. I was so mad with them. Oh my god. Yeah.
Can I just make, I want to realize, I just want to say something. I know I just said transcripting a while ago. I think that's what I said. Okay, I know it's transcribing. Okay, just correcting myself. Go ahead. I mean, I'm from
No.
Alabama. Oh, you missed it, Sam. The other day we were on here and we were
Mhm.
talking about the different. I was reading the docket, and it came up and it said petite
Oh, I
crime.
heard you. I was getting in the car or something. Yeah, I
Were
was
you
getting ready
yelling
to
at
go to
me? Were you
no,
yelling at me in the car?
no, I was throwing my stuff in the car because I was on my way to the jail, but I was silently telling you in my mind. It's
You idiot!
actually
It's
referred to
petty,
as they actually
petty theft.
call it it's actually called petty theft.
And I've heard that a million times, and it never came to me as I was reading it. And I was like, petite, petite, petite.
It is a really weird phrase for that, but it just means a theft under a certain amount of money.
Well, everybody was more than kind in the chat about it, though. But this one guy was like, I think it was a guy. He goes, "You obviously never took French," and I responded back in the comments. I'm like, "Dude, I went to school in Alabama. Like, I don't even know if we had French available. Are you kidding me? We might have had Spanish, but French? Heck no, not in Alabama."
Oh my god, that's funny.
But yeah, so let's go back over here. Padilla, reliable reporting, got that. We got Billy, forensic data. That's the different
That's
one.
that
But
well,
no, that's
forensic data, if I am not mistaken, is John Sawicki's company. And
media analysis.
yeah, were speaking about him the other day. He's actually a lawyer who abandoned his law practice because he's making much more money as a digital forensic specialist. So
So
like
he's cell phones?
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I just want to ask you really quick. Was it he's downloading cell phones, right?
Well, the police download the phone. We never get like the phone to do anything with. We get their download. But he's very good at interpreting the towers and how things are showing where you are at different points in time.
Okay.
Uh, and as far as I know, he is. In fact, I don't know another one in Florida, although there should be. That man is busy, 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 busy. But he knows his stuff. I first met him on a federal case.
There, I guess he does something that maybe some people don't like doing.
Well, it's very sort of mathematical slash engineering slash
Yeah.
IT kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know, it's very specialized, but he's good at it. And
He
he
gets paid a
testifies
lot.
well. Oh, yeah, he gets paid a lot. And he
He's paid
testifies well.
he's made over 8 he's made almost 10 grand, 9
Mhm.
grand in Sarah's
His
case
rate
already.
his rate's much higher. Like
His
my rate's 50.
He's got a $200 rate for, and he's put in over 33 hours, 11 hours. Um, okay, so then we go back to Padilla traveling back and forth to go see the pain in the butt. Steel litigation. There's a new one. James Yoder.
Still
Oh, I remember
litigation.
this. I remember this guy.
Mm.
Let's go back over here. What he did. Payments for information and evidence. Steel
What?
litigation. Do you know who that is?
What?
Payments for
What?
information and evidence. $795. Wait a minute. Wait a
Hold
minute. Wait
on.
a minute.
Who? What?
That's a flat fee. That's not an hourly. That's a flat fee. What did he do? I've read this. I can't remember what it
Payments
was
for
though.
information and evidence under Mauricio.
Hang on. Let me go over here to
Still,
my notes on Padilla. It was
okay,
during
because
Padilla.
this
Padilla.
is new to me. What?
Padilla. Here it is. Okay.
You're
He
making me say it
reformatted.
wrong now.
He reformatting the discovery. He took all of the stuff on that drive or whatever. I think it might have been the cell phone stuff, and reformatted it for Padilla, where it was easier to read or something like that.
But that's what Cellbrate is for. So that's really weird. Now, if they took her laptop and did a
It
forensic image of that, that's
That might be what it
interesting.
was. because it just says the only note I made was reformatting discovery.
Okay, but it all shouldn't have had to be reformatted. And Cellbrite is Cellbrite. That is consistent from case to case. Although, oh my God, recently I heard them say that they couldn't even rely on their own results anymore, and I about fell over dead.
They need to stop.
They is exactly right. So, attorneys and their investigators now at this point, not all attorneys, but I would say most investigators know how to uh, read Cellbrite. There should have not been a reason for this. I don't know. I'll see if I can find out. Oh,
Okay,
and
and then
I also asked a source that I have, and they were not in the courtroom for the Sarah blushing and smiling, so I still have no idea what that was about.
okay, I'm gonna open up Steel Litigation and look up his business. I think I did that. I think that's what I did when I started writing this to figure this out.
That's just so
Fast and
strange.
accurate confidential handling and cost-effective solutions for your legal document production needs. They're out of
She didn't
Naples.
she did not have that much discovery. Like, on a federal case, we had a specialist to do that. That was, like, aggregating everything and creating this ginormous database for us to use. I
It's
don't
that
understand.
it says that their services include scan, copy, print, electronic data discovery, back file conversions, digital archiving. So it's got to be electronic data.
Did you just say they printed?
Yeah, but they're not gonna have him print. What do you print? Yeah, they
Yeah,
print.
okay, but you go to a JAC approved vendor for printing and they will pay for it.
They're a
So,
JAC approved vendor.
right, that's what I'm saying though. It could be that they got
Oh, I'm
everything. Okay, so it could be that Mauricio Padilla had everything digital and wanted paper.
I gotcha.
And
Okay.
and copy costs are insane. They're expensive. So
So if
that
he's
may
pro bono, that makes sense that somebody's got to eat that money. Somebody's got to.
Well, yeah, Mauricio was pro bono but Sarah was indigent for costs, which is the costs are paid by the JAC. You can pay for a lawyer and still apply to be indigent for costs, like for court costs, for experts, for investigators, for copying, for all these different things. So
Okay.
my best guess on that is that he had copies made.
That makes sense. I think that makes sense. Oh, Bama, would you tell your husband to turn the TV down, please? Because it's bothering me. Okay. Let me go back over here. That's just anybody that's reading the chat will understand. Bye, Felicia. What movie is that from, Cher? Bye, Felicia.
I
I'm
don't
sorry. It's late. I'm going to end up cutting half this crap out, y'all, when I put it back up. All right, hang on.
They're, like,
Let's go
having
back
their
in here.
own conversation in the chat. Like, they're
They
ignoring
do. You
they're
know what,
ignoring
Tim?
us
They
completely.
they do. I'm telling you. Sometimes I sit here. I've told them several times. I'm like, y'all don't even need me. I'm just like the person that puts the screen up, and y'all all come together. Like I could sit here and show like that like the poltergeist screen where it's just like shh. There's
Yeah.
nothing on there. They're like, oh, Carrie's live, and then they all get together and oh, I haven't seen you in so long, and they all know
Oh,
what's going on in each other's lives. It's so cute. I love it. I have the best community. They could
oh, that's
they could care
great.
less what I'm doing.
Yeah, they don't seem to be terribly intrigued by what we're talking about. Louise says that we can multitask too. Okay, I hear you.
I got you. Oh,
We
oh, we are listening to y'all. We multitask. Shares. Louise is like, oh, oops, I'm sorry. We're not ignoring you. What'd you say
oh,
again? I told y'all there was going to be a pop quiz at the end.
right? But
Okay,
this
so
helps you to see though where the money has gone. Um
Reliable reporting. We already did that one. That was transcripts.
Well,
Deposition
it's
transcripts.
either recording the depositions, right, because they have to go there, and then it costs additional money to get them transcribed.
They're only making a 50-cent rate. But look at this deposition transcripts. 50-cent rate at
Per page.
6.5. Oh, page. Oh, gotcha. 59 pages. I get you.
But
Okay.
yeah, I'm
It's not much
hearing
money.
exactly, and I'm hearing a lot about that right now in my county, that we're having trouble getting court reporters to transcribe because of the rates.
So I think we've gone through everybody. Let me see if there's any. Oh, Northwest Florida Psychology. Well, no, let me back up. Edward N. Riley, MD. He's on here twice. He did see Sarah Wiley. Yeah, it's got to be Wiley with 2 L's, right?
I would think, yeah.
Wiley Willie. Well, Dr. Wiley or Willie. She saw him twice. Then we have Northwest Florida Psychological Mental Health, and that's weird because it doesn't have the doctor's name on there.
Could be
And
CAT scans.
CAT scans.
Mhm.
Lord knows they probably did need to check her out.
I mean, some of the people do leave the facility and go get brain scans and so forth. So that's a I'm just throwing out possibilities, Carrie.
No, I never thought about that though. That's
I'm
cool.
telling you specifics when I know the specifics, but on some of these, I'm just guessing. That could be.
And then Aran and Associates came in for a very short time with Bankowitz, and they did some investigative work. How many days is this? From February to just maybe a week or
Wait a
two's
second.
worth.
They did. What's the year
They
on
worked the
that?
whole week.
What's the year?
2023. Because remember, it was just that short time that Bankowitz was on it. They kept Billy for mitigation, but they brought in a different investigator, which I thought was a slap in the face to Billy, but I don't really understand how it all works. So I personally would have gotten my feelings hurt. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, the situation depends. Sometimes we're happy for them to go away.
Oh,
I
okay.
I don't remember now what that conversation was like. I knew he was out of it for a little while, and that attorneys had been reaching out to him to come back. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what specific ones though.
He was like, "You sure you don't want to take over? Like, I'm sure somebody could do the mitigation. Somebody else could do the mitigation. Surely they could." And Billy was like, "Oh, I almost got away."
Almost so
He
close.
he had booked that vacation in Key West, and he was almost there. And
Right?
his wife was like, "Damn it!" All right, so then
We've got crime scene processing. Who billed for that?
that
So
was
that's
forensic.
forensic consulting services, which is different than JD's company.
Yeah, but okay. And then we've got all good reporters. Well, that's transcribing your transcripts and all that. Okay. MRCRI, Marge Reader Court. Oh, it's court reporter.
Mhm.
So this is all just this, and this was during somebody had took depositions in the
Yeah,
summer.
it was
This past
Padilla. He took a lot of depositions, and
no,
then
you know who Cashman.
Cashman
When
did too. Yeah, I was just gonna say.
look at how many people she got. She was getting some
She
stuff done.
was
Now, see,
busting through stuff, and Sarah just threw her away, and that's too bad.
that was, and see, I still haven't finished. That's my last piece of my docket dive is to finish off her part, and I haven't forgotten. We're gonna do it. I probably will do it in the next couple of days. And then that's it. So to look at what's been paid out, we'll get a total for you guys. We'll total this out, but it does kind of give you an idea. I wanted to know. I was like, what is going on here? One other thing too, I wanted to show everyone. Let me take this off the screen. Any questions in the chat about
No, they're
what
having
we
their
just
own
went over?
conversation about flying. They're
Before I
fine.
pass out the quiz, please let me know if you have any questions.
Well,
The
at least
jail
we're
call.
having fun.
I know, right? We could have just called each other. My God.
I know.
Hey, you guys, the jail calls. So I said this already, but I'm going to say it again because people always miss it. The inmate phone calls are not considered public records, so we can't get those because everybody always says that. When you go get the jail calls, Gary, I can't get that.
Okay, so but Wade Wilson's jail calls just came out here in Florida.
Was that Pablo though that did that? Because he's got a jail source.
But Murdoch's they're all recorded. Like I tell my clients all the time, your calls are being recorded. They are being monitored. They are looking at the numbers you're calling. Can you scroll down so I can see this the first
No, because
because
that's a screenshot I took. It
oh
says on
gotcha.
there, it says that the calls are recorded, but they're not recorded for public purposes. And the only reason that they would ever bring them in is if, like, somebody made a comment, like, yeah, if they were needed in court. For like example, the whole thing that went down in the Crumbly case with James Crumbly, he was making threats towards the prosecution, and so that they brought that into court and they slammed him on it.
So
But that's the only time I've ever seen it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm confused by this because yes, Bama share um those those calls for Wilson, they were released before and during the trial, and same thing with Murdoch out of South Carolina. So I don't
That's true.
understand.
I don't either. I don't understand that.
That does not make sense to me, and especially because we're supposed to have such open record laws here. Like if
But
you
was it
email
before the trial? It was done before the trial. That's what I was just going to say. Is it after he was convicted? But no, it says before. Cher said
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to hear Darrell's call too, but we got the transcripts. Now I could get some. I wonder if they'll give me the transcripts.
I don't
But
know.
see, I think we had the transcripts because they were part of the case because he was the whole case that was him trying to what's it a witness intimidate a witness. That was one of his charges, and he was
Oh,
literally doing
witness
it.
tampering,
Yeah,
which okay, so that makes sense because Wade Wilson, who yes, he is pure evil. I agree 100% with whoever said that. Bama said that. He got caught for running drugs inside the Lee County jail. So maybe maybe it has something to do with that because he and some of his lady friends were cooking up schemes. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out why they said that to you about Sarah's unless it's the jail.
it could be that. Well, you said that was a tight prison or jail. You said jail was different than other jails.
He's in Lee County. But yeah, what I told you was everybody runs their jail differently. I don't know. This is gonna go on the list of questions I need to find out. Oh,
You're like, uh,
I did confirm about the mail when I was at
mhm.
jail yesterday. I asked my client if when I give him legal documents, if they take them from him, and he said yes. And they take them to the mailroom and they scan them and they keep them. The only difference between legal mail and not legal mail is that they're not allowed to read it.
Okay, so they still do that procedure though. So she wouldn't have gotten documents. She wouldn't have gotten a stapled document unless, like they said, they handed over a bunch of boxes to her. The staples were down in the bottom of the
But
box or something like
but
that.
you know what? Yeah, unless they were at the bottom of the box, because I had to put together a sovereign citizen's discovery that he wanted all of it brought to the jail. And there were thousands and thousands of pages. So I had no way of dividing it except to use colored pieces of paper. And I kind of created a chronological package, if you will, like, saying, okay, this is this section, this is this section. I don't know how she got staples.
Well, that's interesting. I gave it to BR. Like, yeah.
John Lovitz. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. John Lovett. And it was kind of like, I could just see her going, yeah, that's it. I did. I was giving him CPR. You're absolutely right. How did you know I was doing that? I did that before I called 911. And we're like, you're so full of crap. You were on the porch smoking a cigarette and drinking a Dr. Pepper. You weren't given CPR.
I have a theory. It's only a theory. Can I speculate?
Yeah.
I have a theory that the lawyer said that he had problems with the interrogation, and I'm willing to bet, I don't have a lot of money, so maybe $5, that he's going to say she was still intoxicated or had been drinking that morning and should not have been questioned.
Okay, that's a very good theory because she was drinking a ton of water in that interrogation. And somebody had said in the comments that alcoholics they'd like to put like a vodka in a Dr. Pepper or something like that. Of course, you can't even smell the vodka, but
Right.
that would be a good way to mask it, is to put it like in a can of a soda or something rather than have a drink, like to fix a drink.
Well, let's
So
see. If she's an alcoholic and she's getting ready to go in there, she's going to drink before she goes in. And if she was super intoxicated the night before she went in, which would be, I guess, the day after, then I think it's totally possible that she was still under the influence. And I think her attorney's going to argue that. And what's funny is I flipped to the back of a legal pad yesterday that I
yeah.
had retrieved from one of these 1989 boxes, and there's a big yellow piece of paper in the back with how long it takes your body to process alcohol.
How long is it?
I don't have to go find the pad
Oh,
now.
well, you don't have it memorized.
No, girl.
The
It's here. It's here. I'll look for it. I thought it was
I
funny.
would say, like, I could see her, like, if you look at that video where she's standing there outside, when the first cops got there, she's shaking. Her hands are shaking like she's having major withdrawals. Now, she could have been nervous and scared and all that.
Nervous.
She wasn't
Mhm.
cold because it was Florida, and she'd had a jacket and she ended up taking that off. They were in the sun. So it was nervousness. But I wonder if she was having the shakes because she needed a drink too. 'Cause she kept wanting that Dr. Pepper. She kept wanting that Dr. Pepper that was on the porch
Hmm.
or on the kitchen table. I'm sorry, that was on the kitchen table. Her burning cigarette was left on the porch. The burning cigarette that she lit before she started giving him CPR, and somehow or another that cigarette was still lit when they came and took over CPR. None of it makes sense, y'all.
She did not do CPR on him. With as skinny as he was, as tiny as he was, he would have had fractured or broken ribs if she was really doing it.
And she wasn't like, you could hear her. It was almost acceptable, but I was like, no. Then she got into the 20s, and it was like, no, you if you're giving somebody CPR and you're doing this pump thing, then your numbers change, not the way you're pumping. Does that make sense? Like if I'm going to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. You know what I mean? Like it was like her, I don't know. It was weird, and she was not out of breath at all.
Yeah, she was not. I don't think she was doing anything to
So
help him.
they're still not listening to us. Oh, no, there was one person listening. Teresa's listening to us. She said Sarah's mistake was recording it. Was it Rose that asked a question?
Yeah, and then somebody else echoed it. I think it was, how is the attorney going to get
Explain
rid
the
of the
video.
video? Okay, so if you guys have listened to I think it was the last stream we did, I was talking about something called a motion in limine, and that is something that is used by the defense prior to trial, like at a pretrial conference. That's when it will be argued. But the defense tries to keep everything under the sun out. And so I'm guessing, you guys, I know for a fact they'll file a motion to try to get rid of it. My guess is on what grounds, and as I said earlier, I think the grounds are going to be that she was intoxicated and they shouldn't have been questioning her.
I'd never thought about that.
Is the way I'm reading the situation. Again, I could be wrong. But that's what I think. So I have mentioned a couple of times that there's a lot of information that you guys will never see, that the jury will never see. There's stuff that maybe would be pertinent but gets kept out of a trial. So they will fight to keep that out. But I've been racking my brain trying to think of what that would be, and I think they're going to come back to her being intoxicated. No, I know, Louise. She never gets drunk.
But to me, it's one of those things where it's like, but you can't prove it. It's like saying, you were drinking and driving, but you didn't give me a breathalyzer. So how do you know? You know, like you can't prove that she was. So how? If I was a juror, that would be the first thing I would say.
Well, but they didn't give her expert on the stand to say her behavior was reflective of. I'm guessing. I mean, I've seen some outrageous things, so I've been looking for grounds for them to keep those videos out, because that's like most of their case. And when he said in court the other day, I have a problem with the interrogation, that was the only thing I could think of. But maybe something else will come to me. I don't know.
Okay, we got that part. Then Marianne said, can the EMT or medical examiner tell if CPR was done on George? Okay, here's what I wanted to say on that. Sam made a good point about having broken ribs or whatever. But y'all remember, as soon as the EMTs got there, they were like, ma'am, there's nothing we can do. Did they even try to give CPR? Because when they got there, they could tell it was like right away. They were like, ma'am, there's no, So well, I don't know.
And she freaked. I mean, she described him as he was purple. He had blood coming out of his mouth. And then at one point he gurgled. I don't think she touched him beyond getting him out of the suitcase.
She didn't know and the thing about it is she kept saying that, oh, and when I gave him CPR because he gurgled. Yeah, but he didn't gurgle till you were on the phone with 911, and then you were like, oh my God, he gurgled. So if she had done CPR prior to that, he would have gurgled before that, right?
Well, even if she didn't do CPR, the bodies can do that as they're expelling gases and things. That's entirely possible. That she never gave him CPR.
Hang on. Let me go. Okay, we just went over that Teresa asked. Heard on another.
Marianne Morris, that's the video is important to the case. Yeah, 100%. That's why they're going to fight like hell to keep it out, which I doubt they're going to be successful. But I'm looking for that argument. So those of you who are watching the dockets, you have to let me know.
Hey, Cindy, that's a very interesting way to spell your name. Sindi. Okay, here's my thought on this. I would need to see the receipts on that. I think there's so many, and that's why y'all will hear me. Like, I know a lot of people will bring stuff to me and I'll try to debunk it, or I'll say, yeah, but where did you get that from? Because there's so many rumors out there.
Oh my God.
So I just don't, and maybe this person's channel or whatever where you got this from, maybe they had receipts and maybe they had something. If they had, please put it in the chat. But I just say be careful of that, because I haven't read anything. I don't believe we haven't seen them in me report.
Cindy, she said it on the 911 call.
She did say it?
She did. She said, he's purple. There's blood coming out of his mouth. Oh my God, he just gurgled. Please hurry.
Okay.
Because I've been rewatching, like I said, you guys especially, but you carry the most, have paid so much attention to this case. And like I said, I have not. So you'll know a lot more than I do, but I've been trying to listen to pieces of it in the background where I can. But yeah, it's on her 911.
That makes sense, because I remember that part where she said he's purple, and somebody else had made a comment in here about, did she pull him out of the suitcase? I
She says
know,
she did. She says she did.
I think she did, but because at one point when she was saying to the first responders that she pulled him out of the suitcase, she went into further detail about how she did it. So she went into like she showed like she had to pull him out and kind of his body might have been a little stiff and she had to stretch him out. She said stretch him out, I think is what
Yes,
she
she
said.
did. You're welcome,
So
Cindy.
I think that I think that yeah, she had already done all that before Brian got there. I think she'd been up for a lot longer than she says, and she'd already had him laid out on the ground because
I agree. I
she
agree.
probably
And then
slapped the shit out of him and everything else, trying to, knowing her, she's like, wake up, wake up.
I think she probably started drinking and smoking to try to figure out what she was going to do. I mean, why in the world would she call Brian before she called 911?
That makes, unless she was trying to hide something. Oh my gosh, we need, okay. Have y'all ever had a thought when you're looking at these cases? Have you ever said, you know what, I really want to email the prosecutor and say, did you think about this? And then I'm like, no, I don't want to tell him how to do his job. But like, you just made a beautiful point there.
What point is that?
What did you just say before I said what I said?
I don't know. I don't remember.
What'd she say, y'all? I forgot already.
Somebody tell me what I just said a
Somebody
minute
tell us
ago.
what she just said, because my brain got. I
Oh,
do.
I
What?
think that she had found him dead, maybe pulled him out, went and made a drink, and went out on the porch and drank and was smoking before she ever even called Brian, because I think she had to try to figure out a story to tell.
And if she's not and my answer to that is, why you said, why'd she do that? And I said, because she needed to figure out what to do. She needed to figure out how to cover it up. If I'm
Right.
a prosecutor, I'm going to say, why would I call Brian and not 911? If I wanted to save the man's life, I'm going to call 911. If I want to
Mhm.
cover it up, I'm going to call a friend or somebody I know or
Mhm.
somebody I trust or somebody I always fall upon when
Mhm.
things go wrong in my life.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then there was another thing too that I was thinking about that the prosecution would. I'm sure they've thought about all this. Do they have time to do that though? Don't they have a lot of cases?
They do have a lot of cases, but this one has been going for 4 years, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
but
and a lot of work has been done on it, over the course of those years. It's been done in spurts, but a lot of work has been done on it. And when a case gets set for trial, and if they've started issuing subpoenas, then yeah, they've brought themselves up to date, even if it gets continued. So prosecutors come well prepared. They have a lot of resources available to them.
and they've had so many different eyes. Because the first guy that was the prosecution that started out on it is not the same one. It wasn't Cacciatore. So there's been a bunch of different eyes looking at it. Um, Bama, before I go on to Teresa's thing, Bama says she dumped him out of the suitcase. She didn't touch him. And that's a good point. I never
Mhm.
thought about that.
Mhm. Mhm.
The one night, you guys, and maybe it'll be maybe next Friday night. Remember when I did that thing where I was asking you guys, what's your theory on it? So it's funny because I want to sit down and read the chats, read the comments where people say, this is my theory. And I think I have to go through and like weed them all out. But I think that would be kind of cool one night to go through the comments and read everybody's theory.
Yeah, totally. And I am very, very interested in however we end up presenting the defense, the battered spouse defense. I'm very interested to see what everybody has to say about that. So I guess you and I can talk about how we want to do that, because I really want to hear Chat's response to what we present, which is, this is the law, right? This is the standard. And here's how this worked in this other case. And here's how it's different from Sarah's. And the reason why I wanted to do that was so when you guys watch the trial, you could chat amongst yourselves and say, are we getting there to the point where we need to be for her to be, um, for her to successfully use that defense, if that makes any sense.
I hope the prosecution's not getting too comfortable, because that's when because this attorney, like him or don't like him, I know a lot of people don't like him, but he is sharp. He's not scared to ask questions, and he's not scared to go places he might not go. So,
Yeah.
maybe he shouldn't go. So
I was super surprised at how much information he just kept talking and talking during both of his press conferences, to the point where he had to be cut off. And I have never experienced a defense attorney that would say that much before a case. Not saying it doesn't happen, but I found that to be very strange. There have been some weird jury verdicts coming back, and the oddest one recently that sticks out in my mind is the Karen Reed verdict, because they found her not guilty on 2 of the 3 counts, but they told the judge they were deadlocked, and she declared a mistrial. But they found her not guilty of 2 of the major charges, and jurors. Here's the thing.
I haven't followed that trial at all, and everybody talks about it, and I am so out of the loop on it.
It's just crazy. But here's the thing, and I keep telling my young friend who is a lawyer, you can't assume that people understand the word unanimous. And that didn't hit me until a couple of years ago. There was a case out of Mississippi, I think it was Mississippi, for a girl named Jessica Chambers. And the guy who was suspected of doing it was, I think, tried at least twice. And the jury came back and they said, "Have you reached a unanimous verdict?" And they said yes. But then one of the attorneys asked to poll the jury. And when you poll the jury, you're just saying, person 1, is this your verdict? Yes, 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 yes. Somebody said no. They didn't understand what unanimous meant. And I'm always kind of like, when I go to the jail, especially with my younger attorneys, I'm like, you got to think these people do not know the words that we know, and we can't assume that they understand. And they don't want to say they don't know. I watch them very carefully, and then I'll stop the attorney and I'll say to whomever, "Do you know what that is?" And then they'll shake their heads a little bit like, "No." Because you can't assume that they understand everything. And clearly they didn't get it in the Karen Reed trial, because the judge cut them off so abruptly. That was a mess.
It's almost like you have to have the teacher mentality when you're dealing with a jury. But the problem is too, you have a lot of adults who think they already know things, so they're going to halfway listen sometimes. But yeah, you really do. It's like you have to be a teacher. And you have to almost, let's go back to the drawing board. Please don't get mad at me for telling you stuff that you probably already know, but we're going to go over some things. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
totally.
even put up, well, think about it. Last time I went to jury duty, like they'll even put up videos and stuff to play while you're sitting there waiting to be called and stuff. And people, they halfway pay attention to them. Halfway. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But the 911 call, or the call at the Suitcase call, 11:46 p.m. got cut off. I think there's a lot more to both of those videos. You think we're going to see them in court?
So there's a process. I'm sure you're familiar of things being redacted.
Yeah.
We look at redacted things the other day.
Yeah.
At some point, my reality is going to cross over into whatever we're talking about, and I'm going to mix things up. So what can happen is, during the pretrial hearing, before any jury is ever sworn, the prosecution can play the videos in their entirety, and then the defense will argue about either keeping it out altogether or at least redacting parts of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about when I say there's a lot of stuff you guys will never see and the jury will never see. There's photographs, but
before, you don't know this yet, but see, on our channel here, we watched the Daryl Brooks trial, And there was a piece there where they were showing where they had to show him drive through on the video. And there's a redaction. There was an area where in trial they weren't supposed to show that part. Brooks made a big deal out of it. So when you say that, yeah, I think everybody on this channel completely understands what you're talking about when you say that, because it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to go there, so don't open the door for us to go there.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what motions this attorney files. I mean, it is for me because I'm a geek and you're letting me talk about it, and other people don't want to hear about
These
this
people
stuff.
do, though. I mean, you would be surprised. Like, I'm surprised at how many people were into true crime as much as they are. I mean, I was into just like the idea of watching the documentaries, but now that I'm gotten into like really, I think this is the first case, even though I did some diving on Brooks was easier. This case, I'm really starting to like find my way like through this whole process, and I'm loving it.
Well,
Just the different thing, because and thank God it's not a difficult case to figure out, but
yeah, it's a very straightforward case, but it has been messy in the terms of the attorneys and the JAC and trying to understand what is happening with all of that. And you had a change of judge. The new judge talks very fast. Sarah has a lot of words to say. But as a case, uh, what happened is pretty straightforward. I'm going to be interested to see how much they argue to keep out and how much of the experts they will allow in. And they're going to have to hustle on that because the state has to have the opportunity to depose whomever they're intending to call a trial.
are we going to hear a lot of that on the 24th?
The
That
motions?
argument, that type of the
Yes.
different types of arguments about
Yes.
what can be. So we'll know
Yes.
by the 24th what they will and will not allow by trial.
Yes. Correct.
And
That's
it could still
correct.
be argued. There can be some bits and pieces still argued during trial, but for the most part,
Yeah.
that's where all that's talked about. Okay.
Correct. Correct. So, like I said before, the motions will be filed. So they're usually filed by the defense first.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're saying, hey, we don't want this in, we don't want that in. And we can talk a little bit more about closer to time about why it's a rule called probative versus prejudicial. It's a rule of evidence. But they'll file written, and then the state will file their response back, and then the judge will hear arguments about it that day, and they will decide what evidence, what photographs, what video, what's coming in.
Okay, that's gonna be good, you guys. You think so? It's gonna be a long time. You think it's gonna be a long hearing?
I mean, that judge moves things pretty fast, but the new attorney, boy, he likes to hear himself talk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but
I
Cacciatore
don't.
cuts him off, though. I saw Cacciatore cut him off a couple of times, didn't he? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe
Well,
I'm.
it's one thing to do that at like a status versus doing that at trial or a pre-trial conference. I don't know. Be interesting to see, really. Um, whether I'm able to see it with you live, which hopefully I will be able to, or if I come back and talk with you about it later. I'd be interested in seeing what happens, especially with how many lawyers we've got going now and all these different experts.
Interesting fact I found: potential jurors tend to give less weight to confessions from intoxicated suspects than from sober suspects. That's from Mila Earl.
Interesting.
Um,
Oh, I had a fact I wanted to point out to
okay.
you. It has nothing to do with Sarah Boone. True crime, 85% of the consumers are women.
That makes sense. If you look at the analytics on my channel, that makes complete sense. Okay, she locked out. She cried wolf so much. Yeah, her cried wolf thing. Oh, she got locked out. She cried wolf so much. And it was who said that about 911? She always calls 911. Yeah. Why all of a sudden can she not call 911 when someone else needs help?
Well, and in her interrogation, she said he was the boy who cried wolf.
Exactly. She likes to say that. I'm making a list of all the little things that she starts to say that she likes to say, and I'm picking up more and more of them. Like when we saw that last body cam footage that I put up that we just got in last week,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, there's even some more stuff there that she added to that list. Sarah was what? Sarah was way more upset about the Dr. Pepper than George expired. I
Yeah,
know, right, Deb?
exactly. So one of the things that I do as an investigator is I compare what people say. So, in the interviews that were recorded, sometimes the transcriptions are in the police report. Sometimes we ask for them to be transcribed. And then we go through and start looking at what's called inconsistent statements. So where the story changes, because that can be used for something called impeachment. And basically, if it comes in, it can just be said. You can say, well, that's not what you said the first time, the second time, or the third time. It's that line of, well, you lied before and you lied before, but we're supposed to believe that you're not lying now.
Which one do we pick is true and which one is not? Yeah.
Right, exactly.
He really needs to put this interview. Oh, they're talking about the new lawyer and all his interviews now. Hey, Mel. Hey, Olive Oil. I love that name. He's definitely a big mouth.
He likes to hear himself talk.
Yes, Miss Leah, where you been? Yeah, we're still here chatting away. We're on to. Oh, did you know we were talking about Sarah Boone's case now? It's tried by a jury of your peers. Yeah, and that I still want to talk about the jury thing. How in the hell? How in the hell are they going to find somebody that's not heard? Were we talking
Okay,
about this last?
so
When was I talking about? I was recording last night and I said this. You're gonna have to find a man that watches football and has no. It's gonna be on all man jury. I mean, how? Because you like see
Well,
the
I'll give
women in
you
the
an
true crime.
example. So I told some of my family members that I had done that initial interview with you, and my stepmother listened to it, and she's never been into true crime. So then she starts watching backwards through Sarah Boone, and she's thoroughly confused because she's never heard of it, and she lives here in Florida. So
Oh,
there are women out there. I had to, put together some playlists and stuff for her. I'm like, you need to start at the beginning because this is a case you can't work backwards through. um, so I had to put information like that together. Just because we're obsessed with it does not mean that everybody else is.
and I try to think about it that way. It's like if and here's an example. Let's say you don't know anything about a sport like soccer or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
some sport that we have no idea about, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody starts talking about it. It's you know of it, you've heard of it. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she got arrested. I heard about the lady in the suitcase or whatever, but you really don't know about the rules of the game. So it
Right.
could be something similar to that, but I mean, you're dwindling down with all the media for 8 years. 4 years of media. Well, not that it's been complete media constantly, but especially this past year when
Well,
the lawyers start popping left and right. It's like, whoa.
yeah. Yeah. But I think they'll be able to find a jury. They may call a big voir dire panel. Like, I told you before that my last trial like pulled 75 people in. So it may be they'll probably try to argue for a change of venue. I don't think they'll get one.
Well,
I
would
rarely
that
see
slow
that
down the
happen.
trial? Would that not move the trial date back if they got to change a venue? I guess if they did it now, maybe not.
It could. I mean, he could file something in the next couple of days. I it's called covering your ass. You just file everything so that you can say you did it. Uh, and it can't, when your client inevitably turns against you and files what's called a 3850 for ineffective assistance of counsel, you can point back to the record and say, I did do that, Judge. I did do that. I did that too. I did all the things.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. But what? How many jurors do you think they're going to bring? In my head, I'm thinking they're going to have to bring in like 140 people. You think only 75? They'll find them out of 75? How many people would they call on a case like this that's had this much of media attention? Do you think they'd probably have more people come in for possible jury selection
It's
than,
possible.
the average case?
It's possible. It's possible. Um, I think a lot of people have watched the interrogation videos because it's about the suitcase and her phone videos. I don't know that other people are so into um, going, through a deep dive and following a case. They get bored and move on. I guess my point of wanting to participate in these conversations is I want people to be knowledgeable based on real actual knowledge and not just pulling things out of the air. I get it, it's fun to speculate about some things, but at the same time, I feel like the American public has been led astray by what they assume and think about the criminal justice system. I'm not here to get you guys to be on the side of the defense at all. My initial reaching out to Carrie was about the JAC because that's confusing if you don't know what you're looking at. And I've been doing it long enough that I knew what I was looking at. I'm just trying, I enjoy the conversations. I'm trying to explain both sides. I'm not for or, I'm not here to convert anybody to be for Sarah Boone. I'm just trying to explain why things are happening the way they are.
But I'm going to go grab a soda. And while I go grab a soda, I want you to tell them what you were saying to me about the balancing of the scales. And I know you've said this before, but some of the things that you've seen that really make you question everything. Do you know what
Okay,
I'm talking about? Okay.
I
I'm
think
going to go
so.
grab a soda. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I think Carrie is talking about, I was telling her about this trial that I was just in. The state of Florida, which is the prosecution, which in some areas is called the district attorney, they have everything. They have all kinds of resources. They have uh, tech stuff that isn't available to the general public, and it's not available to the defense either. Very few people can afford their own private defense attorney and or the costs that go with that. So we actually have very few resources to work with, and we have to fight really hard to do that. And in my recent trial, two young men were on trial for murder, and they had one boy's cell phone. They had the FBI analyze his location data. The FBI, I'm in circuit court in a 4-day trial. They flew an FBI agent in specially to testify about this one particular phone, which blew my mind because we can't match it. So, yeah, it's stacked. The odds are stacked. Miss Carrie, Miss Sam, you must be Southern. Will they ever show JT's side of body cam videos? It's entirely possible, but they can't do it without having provided it to the defense first. You don't get to do trial by ambush. That's just not how it goes. It's not supposed to go.
Well, the thing is that on all those body cam footage that we've seen, they haven't shown the inside of the house at all. And another body cam video, we've seen a lot of body cam videos watching true crime. And we don't understand why in this case we've never been able to see his side.
Well, and when one of your subscribers said, it's because it's the inside of the house, I immediately thought back to I believe it's Chris Watts.
Oh,
They showed the
yeah.
inside of his house when Shanann was missing, and
Yeah.
the inside of the neighbor's house when they went over there. So I don't have a straight answer for that.
Good night, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. And
Yeah, good
Laura
night,
and
you
Mel.
guys.
I didn't say good night to everybody. So
Good
why
night.
aren't they doing it in this one?
I don't know. I
There's a
do not.
reason. There's got to be a reason. Is it?
Doesn't it doesn't yeah, Carrie Morrissey is unreal. Um it- the only thing I can think of is it just hasn't been released to the public. I'm stunned, actually, if you want to know the truth, by how much of her stuff has come out ahead of time. I don't know if it was just that people went looking for it and they don't normally do that, but it's entire. I mean, the footage exists and the prosecution probably has it. And if they do, they need to turn it over. We have a really hard time getting body cam video sometimes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can see that even when you do the requests and stuff. Oh, I told you the jail, not the jail calls, the 911 calls came back and said they only keep them for a year. They said the same thing to me on Daryl Brooks' case. We only have them for a year. I don't know why it is. I always come in and I'm like, God, I'm going to
So,
start, when I start watching trials or when I start looking at cases, day one, I'm going to go in and I'm going to request this stuff.
yeah, I told a lawyer friend of mine today. Um, he was asking me to work on a case where there's surveillance video. I said the first thing you need to do right this very second is issue a letter of preservation so that that footage does not get overwritten or destroyed, and then you can come back and subpoena it. But if you issue a letter of preservation as an attorney, then they're supposed to keep whatever it is.
Well, now I looked at this morning. I can pull it back up to the notice of discovery. Did you look at those items?
I was watching you do that. I don't remember what else I was doing
I'm
at
gonna
the
pull it up
same
really quick because there was
same
something,
time.
a
It's
couple of
gonna be
things that
just you
stood
and
out.
me left in this chat.
I know they're gonna be like, we were all saying goodnight to y'all, and y'all were just a talking. Didn't
Mhm.
even. Okay. Oh, good lord! I typed George Boone. Oof, that was not good. Okay, Sarah.
I was looking at Sarah's docket today, and I thought I was looking at one of my own clients' dockets, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. And then I'm like, oh, you idiot.
I know. I don't know how I'm gonna go into another case right now. Somebody asked me that, like, "Are you gonna follow this trial too?" I'm like, "I haven't finished this one. There's
Mhm.
no way. Y'all know how forgetful I am. There's no way I'm gonna be able to do two at a time.
I've got
Um,
about 15 right now.
there's no well, I guess if it was my job, that's a different story. I get, but this is my job. I just can't. I have to make lots and lots and lots of notes. Okay,
Well,
notice of
you don't have a legal education / background, to build off of. So you're figuring it out as you go. And trust me when
yeah,
I tell you
that's true.
that my attorneys have to tell me the same thing 20 times. They have to tell me the same thing 20 times. And I have lists and pads and notes all over the place. So it's not just you.
Okay, so what I had said earlier in my report, now this is from the state, this is their discovery. So if you notice here, it says calls plural for service, and
Right. I
then
saw that.
and then and up
And
top 911. My
and the
point in
cat
this,
calls.
CAD calls is
Mhm.
that's calling into 911. So
Well, the
right?
cat calls are dispatch talking to the officers.
Oh, okay. So my thought on this is that calls for service, not call for service, because there was one call that day, but there's been many calls in
Right,
Sarah and George's
they
relationship.
went back in history 100%. I mean, you see it in the next line, domestic violence history,
So
incident
we're gonna get to,
reports.
so we're gonna get to hear them because we've seen the reports, but we're gonna get to hear the 911 calls.
Well, that
Eh,
depends, which
maybe
is
if they let it
everybody's
in.
least favorite answer. Um, so like referring to, for example, to the YSL trial in Atlanta, they are going back outside the presence of the jury and re-listening to phone calls and to audio, and they're redacting things now that they should have done 3 years ago. So you may get to hear some of them being argued. You may see some of them come in. I can't say for sure.
I hope so.
I
We
mean,
we
so
need to hear those.
if this is on your list though, right? This is their discovery, then
Yeah,
this is all the stuff that needs to be turned over. So look, there's only 2 video from Sarah Boone's cell phone, social media, search warrants.
but
Uh,
if you look, where was it at?
I see you guys who are still here. Thank you.
CSC form. What is a CSC form?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Oh my God. This morning, I'm like, she's going to ask me that. And I meant to look it up. And I did look it up, but of course I forgot. Hold on.
You know what I found interesting is that they've got Copesel. Well, no, Copesel is the female. I guess she was the lead detective, her investigative report, so they don't need what's his names.
This is saying, is it CSC? Did I type that right?
CSC, yeah.
Criminal sexual conduct. Huh.
Okay.
Hold on.
We've got a CD with a 911 call, just one call it says. DVD with interviews, videos from Sarah's cell phone. There's 2 of those. Public surveillance video, CSI photos. Okay, this is what I want to talk to you about. When you get done with that, tell me when you're done.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I've changed my search inquiry.
I went to the store today, you guys, and they had banana bread on sale. And can I just tell y'all?
Okay, so it looks like it could be a couple of different things, including child support program.
I see you, Bama. Southern Utah. You kind of southern. You kind of southern.
You kind of.
Oh, and Cher, is it you that you're the one that lives out in the woods, right? You got all kinds of animals. Are you the one that got bit by the snake, Cher?
Are you serious?
I get you and one other person mixed up. I can't remember who it was.
Okay, so the most populated answer I'm getting out of this is sex crimes.
That's weird. Because there's not
Yeah.
any in this case. Okay. So here's what I've got. On the disc at this piece of this what we're looking at right now. Look at number 6, but then look at number 3, and then look at number 6. Videos.
Right, I see that.
And then suitcase video. So I'm like, okay, I feel like there's going to be a lot more than just the suitcase videos that we're going to see from her cell phone.
Videos from Sarah Boone's cell phone.
And then down below, it's got more cell phone videos on number 8. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Could that be?
Well, that says video audio interview.
With Brian Boone.
With Brian Boone, Sarah Boone, cell phone videos. He could have videos on his phone.
And then also, okay, so something that I picked up on that body cam footage, George said he was looking for a cell phone. Sarah had said in her interrogation that George didn't have a cell phone.
He may not have had a working cell phone, but he may have had a phone. And
okay,
then didn't I see on this there's something else I saw on here. Is there anything other? Digital forensic extraction for cell phones. That's Cellbrite. Go down. Is there anything more? Or up? Go up to the top. This is it. I saw something else this morning. I swear I did.
What is Jamro? Who is I'm thinking that's the detective or one of the deputies.
Written sworn statement. Yeah, or a witness. Social media, search warrants, Publix video surveillance, property forms, medical examiner, fire department, interviews, incident reports, domestic violence history, calls for service, the CAD calls, and 911. What's at the very top? Does it just start with 911? Is there
Yeah.
something else on there?
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
Physically picked up on September 5th. So he was in town still yesterday. Yeah, because he said he was
They,
going to get that. He said he was going to get that one last week.
yeah, I don't understand what's happening with all of that. Medical examiner photos, olive oil, those don't normally get shown. You may get a shot of the person at the scene.
They, they're not
Maybe
showing him.
they may show
They'll show the
like
jury, right?
they'll show the wounds, not even to the jury. Like nobody needs to be seeing autopsy photos. They could put up a diagram from the ME. I'm sure you've seen that before, where they have kind of almost a stick figure. It's like a line drawing of a person.
Oh yeah, and if there's like a stab wound, they may do like a
Yeah,
close up of the wound. I get what you're saying.
exactly. So
Okay.
yeah, if they're like, let's say we know he was hit in the head. If they shaved off part of his hair to look at a wound, then that would be photographed and that could be shown to the jury. But showing autopsy photos and things like that, judges don't like to do that, and nobody likes seeing it.
I was thinking of crime scene photos, which they'll show the jury those, but we won't see them. Like on scene.
Right. I'm just trying to think.
But see,
We've
they still have
seen.
it here. 2 videos from S. Boone's cell phone is right here.
Mhm.
I don't know why they domestic violence history. Well, he wants that in. And that's the beauty in it. Owens wants that to be brought in because he's going after the battered spouse defense.
Mhm.
But the problem with that is that you're going to get to see, hopefully, you're going to get to see how she comes jumping out to greet the police when they pull up in the 911 call, or in their body cam, and how she reacts to. I mean, she's going to give herself away.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why her attorney is going to fight to keep it out as much as possible, and the
But he
state will
can't.
fight to keep it in.
Right, because if he wants to go that route, he's going to have to go. Okay, you want to go that route? I guess that's what's going to happen in court. They're just going to fight over it and figure it out. But I'm just thinking, if I'm the judge, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to give you half of it. If you want to go that route, then we're going to have to go in and give the state. They're going to have to be able to show the 911 or the body cam footage, all of it.
It goes back to the rules of evidence, and case law. And I think he's taking a real big leap. With what I have seen so far, no, they did not give her a breathalyzer. From what I've seen so far of the research I've been doing for our video on domestic violence, the battered women syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a challenge. They're going to have to spin this story to fit it, but I don't want to say a lot about that because I'm very interested to see what your subscribers have to say about it. Would they show body cams from past calls? They can, but evidence can't show that because something happened before, that makes you more likely to have done it again. It's called propensity. Case status conference? But why would that be in discovery?
Case status conference form.
See it?
What is a case status conference form?
Yeah, no, I know. I've never heard of that.
CPS case. Okay, that's it. Cindy's bringing up a good point. So, are you familiar with the fact that she put
It's
her kid in the suitcase for fun?
I have heard that, and see where it says domestic violence history? That's where you're going to get her CPS, is my guess.
So they did that
That's horrible, Olive Oil. I'm sorry that they did that because that's horrible.
I missed what she said.
She said Chad Daybell trial, they showed pics of what was left of the dead children.
That no.
That's not necessary.
Did did you see it on Hey Aaron, did you see it on the like we saw it on TV?
I'm
That's
guessing
another
she's saying during the live stream. A lot of these cameras aren't allowed to film that, and or they have to cut away.
I remember in one of the cases that we watched, the Federers, that couple I was telling you that locked the boy up in the garage, they were complaining at first because the media could hear the microphone could pick up the defense attorney talking to her client and them talking back and forth. And like for the first day, we could hear what they were saying. They fixed it though.
I was watching a Zoom hearing. One of my attorneys, it was a trial. It was getting ready for like a police sentence or something, and the mics were hot. So I'm texting him, like, "Yo, I can hear you talking."
Or are you one of those? Because she did. That's how she found out. Somebody texted her and told her.
I did that
That's
because he's
hilarious.
loud. I'm like, I don't know if you care or not, but I can hear you. No, they didn't show children on camera, just showed the jury. Well, and I'll tell you, they will limit those photos, right? They're not going to repeat it over and over again, and they're going to put it up for as brief a time as possible because, yeah, maybe they have to show it to show how heinous it is, but at the same time, they know how terribly deserving or disturbing that is. I mean, I'm disturbed based on the stuff I look at, and I never look at the autopsy photos, ever.
Yeah, we've been on 3.5 hours. We need to probably call it a night. It's 10:30. It's
Yeah,
past y'all's bedtime. Children, it
it's
is
11:30 for me, so it's way past my bedtime.
yeah, that's right. I forget.
Olive oil because it's in case of a continuance. In case the trial does end up getting pushed back, he's filing a notice of unavailability. Yeah, it was fun. I didn't expect to do this, but I'm glad to have gotten on here and gotten to ramble a little bit. And we'll keep working on that video for you guys.
Yeah, be patient. I try to get out. I there's some things I'm working on that I want to put a lot of time into. I don't want to just and I want to have my ducks in a row. And that's the other thing too. It's like research. I want to research some stuff before because if y'all ask a question, I want to be able to answer it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I'm saving my legal juicy stuff for when Sam's on, and then the other stuff I can do when Sam's not available. So I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
that would be definitely interesting for sure. Well, thank you guys all.
Thank you.
Hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
Y'all have a blessed evening. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
Bye.